Welcome back to Stockton Junction. As you can see, the Helix is coming on quite nicely. I've got one more circuit to do to complete the Helix, and I just wanted to go through how I separate the track. Obviously I'm using Flexi track on this, I decided, rather than set track. So what I've done is I've got one of these boards. I've measured halfway point, so I go round, as you can see, mark off the halfway point there each time as I move up. The next thing I do is I use this piece, which is a Flexi Divider, which was bought with the Helix, and you get several of these. And again, I measure the halfway point onto there and there, so that when I put it down, I can put it at the halfway point there and there, draw the lines, and then we've got our line to set our track on. So I'm getting on quite well with this now. I've literally just got the last layer to finish, which will come round here on top of here and end back where the drill is at the moment, and then that will be ready to go off onto the top of the layout. So just wanted to go through how I'm putting it together. This is the exit ramp at the moment being clamped down. That'll be dry now. So one thing I am doing, so obviously I'm putting in one section at a time, weighting it down like that each end until it's dry. It doesn't take long. Reason it doesn't take so long is because I'm not using standard PVA, I'm using Gorilla Wood Glue. It does dry quicker and it does dry stronger than standard PVA. Well worth buying if you're doing something like this, and you know, it's pretty good. So I'm going to continue putting the next section on up to here where this one is just sat, and obviously I can't continue until I put the track again on that section. One thing I'll say is I am soldering the joints on here, and so if we come round, you can see there's just a bit of solder between the fish plates, and that is to make sure continuity is there. I do not want to put droppers on every single section. I'm going to put one dropper on the bottom, one on the top, though that solder joint will stop the joints moving, and obviously it will keep the continuity. So the dirt, if any dirt gets in the fish plates, that could stop continuity, but the solder joint will make it permanent. I would say though, if you are doing a Helix in a very warm or hot place, in a loft, or your shed's very hot, then be careful soldering joints, because obviously heat expansion could make the tracks move. I'm quite lucky in this shed now. It's really warm outside, it's nice and cool in here. The insulation is doing its job very well, and even in the hottest days I'm not hot in the shed, so it's really good. So that being said, that is why I'm happy to solder the joints. If I'd been in the loft or somewhere, I would not have done that. The other thing, I'll just show you, you can see the tracks are staggered. That is done purposely, because if the tracks are level like that, what could happen is the tracks can push outwards easier, and it could cause derailment issues, etc. So I did a test a minute ago. I shall do it again now for you guys. So I'm going to put this coach on the track, and I'm going to let gravity take it, and I shall need to come around here to stop it. But the point is, it's picking up a lot of speed, as you can see. And it didn't derail. Now my trains are never going to run that fast through there, so that is a pretty good test to make sure there's no track issues before I obviously finish off. And obviously I've still got to just tighten off all these bolts once it's finished, but we want to leave them just slightly loose until we've got it all right, all the measurements are right. So I've made my measurements. I can't find my little ruler now, it's disappeared. It's always the way when you want something. So I sit a ruler here like that and measure from this point to the top edge of this point, and that is dead on 80 millimeters or 8 centimeters. So that is how I've measured it, and then the same for the next one, and it'd be the same for the next and next and next. And that seems to be a pretty good sort of level to give you the perfect rise of what they say that you should have. So I did the same with the lower rise, obviously starting from this point is 80, and then it goes down 10 mil because there's 8 sections on each section. So obviously this one starts at 10 mil, 20 mil and so on, and it's seems to be fine. Obviously once I've got this section finished along here and another bit along the back here, I can put a train on it and we will test it, and hopefully it will all be good. So I mean, I built a Helix previously, but I made it myself, and I did make it with MDF, which was a mistake. MDF will expand and twist it with moisture. So if you have any moisture in your loft or shed, it's not going to stay put. So I'd never advise making any, if you're going to make your own Helix, make it out of ply. It's not worth making out of any other products. And when I've obviously got that bit, we'll have a test, and hopefully it'll all be good. I'm going to test it with as many coaches on a class 50 as I can, just to see what the pulling power is, how it works. Obviously I've got a class 50 sat there that was just used for height to make sure I had no issues. The clearances are really good with the 80 mil, which is perfect for me. It does give a nice bit of, as you can see, there's enough gap there, bearing in mind these bits here are lower. Oh, I knocked the coach off now. I was just going to put it underneath, because obviously this bit, there's more clearance, but when we get there, obviously it's just a little bit less. And if you've got any taller things, say you wanted a crane or something on a train, they actually sometimes sit a little bit higher than a coach does, so that will give you that extra clearance. Obviously if I find that the pulling is not very good, obviously I've got my power base here, but the power base is there for lighter, less weighty trains. My class 50 is not going to need the power base magnets. Big heavy locos like that will not need them. If you're running steam, obviously you would need this, but it's in place anyway. That way I can run whatever I want if I need to. But as I was saying, if I find that that even with the power base installed that it's not enough, then obviously what I could do is maybe drop these down maybe another 2 or 3 millimeters all the way around. Make sure you can, obviously if I drop it say 2 mil here, it'd be 2 mil there, 2 mil on each one all the way around, starting, you know, from the bottom, and you work your way around, and that way that will actually lower the gradient. But I don't actually foresee that I'm going to have to do that yet, but we won't know until we get to the testing stage. I do have one steam train, so I shall, when I'm ready to do testing, I will get that out. I'll stick the power base magnets on it and give that a test as well and see how well it does with its pulling. But I mean, when I made my previous Helix, I was able to stop my train halfway up and then restart them quite nicely. With the big heavy locos, they will just start even on this sort of gradient, they'll just pull away. So we will get to that stage soon. Anyway, I'm going to continue putting these pieces on, and it's a pretty simple process. I can't really do it while I'm filming because I haven't got a decent tripod. I've only got a little tiny handheld one, at the moment. So all I would do is glue here and here like that, and the same there and there. We'll put this in place, making sure that ends in nice and tight, clipped in like so, and then I'd put my weight on each end, let that dry for 10 minutes, put the next one in, and so on. So I'm going to continue doing that up to that point there, to that one, and then I can lay the track, the power base and the truck down, and we're not far off finishing the Helix, or the first Helix. The other one's going to be going that side over there where all the other junk is. It is a bit of a mess in here at the moment, but once I've got this section done and that under section finished there and joined up to that section, I've put some laying base down on that bit ready, so I can continue the track along there and round to there. My next stage is going to be the exit at the top. I want to start bringing that out and put in just the top section there up to the corner, so that I can test it going all the way round, up and along, and then obviously trains going down as well. And then once that's done, I'll have an area underneath that I can put some of my materials and tools and stuff out of the way for storing them, and tidy up a bit, ready for starting to continue round and getting this area here done for the fiddle yard. So I've got 16 left hand points there. I ordered those in May. I got those about 2 weeks ago or so. I'm still waiting for the 16 right hand points. Hattons are struggling to get them from Pico apparently, so bit of a delay, but hopefully they will turn up soon so I can get that all started, because I can't really do a lot over there until they turn up. The other thing is laying the flexi track. I worked out that for one circuit, and bearing in mind I've got 3.5 circuits, so one circuit of Hornby track of these tracks there, which are the set curves, is £50 for a circuit. So you're talking about 150, 150 quid for 3 circuits, plus the half circuit, and I need 3, so I'd need 7 circuits, so you're talking 350 quid. Well, I've done all of this here so far, and I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lengths left from one box of Flexi. So that's 72 quid. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? I'm going to use the Flexi. So I have got one full circuit's worth of the Hornby curves, but what I'm thinking is I might use them somewhere else, like maybe use, because there's 4 quarters, so I could use 2 in that corner, 2 in the other corner, 2 in that corner and 2 in the other corner, just to use them up rather than waste them, as I did buy them just for test purposes. So it cost me 50 quid for those, so I don't really want to sort of like just get rid of them or lose money. But so the way to go is Flexi track if you want to save a substantial amount of money. I mean, I'm looking at maybe 2 boxes of Flexi track, maybe a tiny bit over that. So you're looking at what? So 150 quid's worth of Flexi versus 350 quid's worth of set track. Half the price for a little bit more effort. Obviously, it's a bit harder to put them in and keep them sturdy, but as you can see, I'm using these little tiny flathead screws. I did have a little test with one of these locos like this, a big loco, which I won't need the weight, I won't need the magnets on, but the magnets will not sit underneath the bogies on those without catching these. So, but I do know that the steam trains obviously have the deeper wheels, so you're going to have room under those for the magnets to fit. I haven't got my Scotsman steam out at the moment, it's all packed up, but we'll have a look at that when I get it out, and I'll show you how I'm going to fit the magnets. And you fit more than one magnet. If you should actually, it says ideally you should have one per driving wheel, or one on the driving wheels. So I'm thinking like at least 2 or 3 magnets will help grip it quite nicely. But you've obviously got to be a little bit careful not to go over the top, because if you put too many magnets on, you're going to create too much drag, and that will probably have an adverse effect rather than that. But we will test that out. In fact, I shall probably do a video on testing how many magnets is ideal for that sort of steam train, and we will have a look into that later. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with this next section, and I'll come back to you shortly. So the Helix is now built, and I've just got to finish off the track coming off the top there, but I've got to build the top section for it to come off to first, as you can see. And I've started building the lower section going off round, which is going to go over to there. Just one thing I wanted to talk about quickly is power districts. So I'm not going to go for automation. It's not my thing. I like to control my trains, and to be honest, I'm quite happy to do it that way. It's more fun. Don't see the point in just sitting there pressing a button and watching them. If you're not playing with them yourself, then what's the point? So with power districts, one mistake I made with my last layout is I put a bus wire for all of the DCC all the way around the layout, connected it all up, and if you have an issue, say for instance I had one where on the points, on the underside of the points, I didn't take the little metal clip off, and I fitted a whole ton of track and a whole load of points before I tested it, and I got to the point of having a short and I didn't know where it was coming from. So I'm going to have it set up so, for instance, obviously this section is going to be isolated from there and there, so that district will go all the way through on one wire, and I'll have let's say like some chock blocks or something similar near the controller end. So I'll have this all wired up together, separate from that bit, separate from that bit, but it'll all be joined the other end. But if I have an issue, I can undo one set of wires, reset the controller. If it resets, I know it's that district that's got an issue with a short or a problem on the track, and so on, and I can do it just removing one set of wires at a time really quickly. Within 5 minutes you're going to know exactly where your short is, what part of the track it's on, and I will obviously show that in better detail later on when I get to that stage, but that is what I'm going to be doing. So if there's any fault finding to be done in the future, it'll be pretty simple. Anyway, so I thought I'd show you it at this stage. As you can see, got plugged in. It's coming on quite nicely. I've had a quick test with the loco up and down on its own, obviously, because I haven't got enough track led out yet along there. Once I get all that bit of track work done, I'll set up a train with a load of coaches and stuff and give it a test going up the hill and test the sort of helix angles, make sure everything's all fine. But we're looking good so far, so I will come back to you with that one. I'll see you soon. So I've got a Class 50 set up, and we have 7 coaches on it there. I'm going to try adding more shortly, but we'll do 7 to start with, which is probably pretty much what I'll be running on most of my trains, because to fit into the platforms and stuff, 7 will be ideal. I could go up to like 11, but I don't really want to. So we'll give this a little start off. And we're going to run this at that amount of speed, which is about a third. So far so good, looking alright. I'm not going to go all the way to the top because that last bit of track over there hasn't been pinned down yet, so we'll get ready to stop it around the front here. So, one issue I've noticed, the front wheel has come off. So there might be something somewhere needs looking at with that. I might have been not on properly when I put it on. I'm not sure. I'm going to run it back down. I shall have to have a look and test that and see if it's an issue, if there's a piece of track that's not quite right. No, I'll give it another run I think in a minute and just check in case it might have just not been put on properly when I put it on, but it's going down alright. Just going to speed that back up to the same speed it went up the hill now. So you can see it's back up to that. Just going to stop her there, and I'm just going to go and put a couple more coaches on, so I'll see you in a minute. Right, I'm back again to try with 9 coaches this time. I'm starting a bit nearer the Helix as well. It's actually take 2 because I just had a derailment before I even got to the Helix with one of the coaches that's a bit light. But this is at the same power again with 9 coaches, just to see how it pulls the 9 up. And this isn't using the power base either at the moment. The class 50 I'm doing just using as is. What we're going to do, I'm going to bring it up to here and stop it, just to do a test for like a hill start test, so just so you can see, put the power back on. And away she goes, no problem. I do need to put some weight in my coaches, so I don't know how that will affect it. But as you can see, it's going well. And that front wheel has come off again. So there is obviously some issue somewhere. Although I've got a funny feeling it might be something over there, because that's what, there's a point over there that keeps derailing one of the coaches. So I shall give that a check out. Oh, that one's come uncoupled. Yeah, that one's come off, so. Right, so coming back, I have made some adjustments to the Helix. I'm going to have to obviously adjust that top up there better because that will need sorting out, and I'll have to lower where the main layout's going to go just by about a centimetre or so. But what I've done is these are meant to be these were set at 80mm between. I've now done them all down to 75. There's still enough clearance for the trains, as we'll see in a minute, but that will lower the angle very slightly. Not that it's an issue with the actual pulling power, it's more an issue with not derailments either. It's more like uncoupling as well as a couple of little derailments. So what I'm doing is I'm just trialing it now at a slightly lower thing to see if it works. So I've got my train set up with 9 coaches on, and it would have pulled 9 before anyway. I set it at the same speed as before. I'll give you a little bit of a lower shot so you can see the clearance is pretty okay. Look, there's a bit of gap there still. As you can see, that is pulling 9 coaches up there, absolutely no problem. And last time I did this, I had a trial run, I had derailments or uncouplings because of the steepness with the curve. So I thought if I try the slightly different steepness, it might make a difference, and it has. So, and that is on only quarter power up to there, or third should I say. Obviously you'd be running downhill on the inside curve but not the outside one, but I'm going to just run the train back down just to get it back down to the bottom again. I'd be quite interested to see how many coaches this does pull up in total, what the maximum is for this class 50. I might do that as a video at some point, maybe when I've got the layout a bit more further on and I've got all the rest of my coaches unpacked. And there we go. That's probably an issue more so with these couplings. It just came undone coming downhill. It's the way it's pushing them. I will be using hung couplings on all of my coaching stock anyway, so maybe I will do some coupling exchanges and then give it another trial, so we'll see. So we're back to try again, and I've found the source of the problem. That coach, the red and blue one, the departmental liveried one of the wheels wasn't in correctly, and that caused an issue. So I'm hoping now I'm going to turn it up and I go up half power just to see. That's 8 coaches, because I had another one with an issue with the hung couplings weren't fitting very well, but as you can see that is running up there pretty well. And that's only at half power. With the steepness difference, it really does fly. So let's stop that now. And yep, it just changing these from 80 to 75 has made a world of difference. that extra 5mm has made it fly up there. So, and the hunt couplings, I'm going to go back down, not too fast obviously because it's going backwards, but I do want to test out, make sure that there's no issues. I'm sure I'll get a derailment or something. It always goes wrong when you're doing testing. It was this coach here had a wheel issue. I do have a back-to-back gauge. I do need to go through all my rolling stock and check all the wheels, etc., as I haven't ever done it. I've only just recently bought one so that I can go through and check them all. But yeah, putting the hunt couplings on has caused the issues, removed the issues of uncoupling going up and down hill. And as you can see, it took the 8 coaches with those magnets, no problem. I've had one other issue with another coach. That's why there's 8 not 9 this time, because it just the couplings aren't fitting very well, and that's because it's got a curved edge underneath, so the couplings too is pushing downwards. But yeah, I think that's success this time. Just and we'll leave it there. Obviously I've got to sort out that end piece. As you can see, there's one of the bars, it's actually needs cutting down so that I can lower that piece down to the right level, and then I'm going to have to lower the foot and the back on that one for the top layout, because obviously it's going to be a bit too steep where I've lowered it all. I'd measured all this here for the height of being these 80, and now that I've reduced them, I'm going to have to reduce this as well by a little bit, so not a problem. I could have raised everything up and made that long piece going across there as part of more of an angled, you know, lift, a sort of entrance going up higher, but I think it would be easier, that's all done, just to take that off and just trim a piece off that length and move the buttons down, and then we'll be done and we'll be ready to start the scenic areas in this top area here, while I'm waiting still for my points to do all the fiddle yard. Although I may start building the base and the other helix on the other side while I'm waiting, so might get on with some of that as well now that I've sort of worked it out with this one. So anyway, this is success at last. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you all soon.